How's it been the last few days, especially since you guys have gotten the pads on?
The last few days they've been pretty intense. Everybody came out on the right track. Guys are competing, flying around on both sides of the ball, just out there having fun, getting each other better.
Coach Norvell mentioned that maybe things started a little bit slow for his liking for the defense today, but he liked the response. I guess what was the challenge, mid practice to you guys?
Just like you said, we came out pretty slow. We had a break, in the middle of practice. We split it up. We just got on all the guys, that took in the leadership role. We just got together. We spoke to all the guys. Told them that it wasn't the standard. Coming out there practice. Practicing pretty slow off rip. So just got together. Just held everybody to the standard. Everybody got on track.
Who are the guys that hold to the standard? Like who was vocal when they had to be today?
It's a whole bunch of us. I don't want to really get into too specific with that, but we definitely have a good leadership group.
Heard you're playing more at Rover. I guess that's your third position change since you've been here. How has that been? And it's kind of more of a hybrid of both of the things you've done.
Making that transition to Rover, I feel like that was the right thing to do for me individually and most importantly the team. To create that success on the defensive side of the ball. Just me being the versatile dude. Being able to come down to coverage, play the run, being a run fit, playing in the deep part of the field, sideline to sideline. I feel like that was a vital role. I'm ready to pursue it.
Last year when you moved to safety, I think you've talked about it a little bit before, but like what went into the conversation with the coaches at the time, and I guess now looking back at it, I guess how much did that help your career, your trajectory?
Making that move, I was all for it. We met halfway. Like me and the coaches, we met halfway at it. I feel like that's where I needed to be. I felt that was the right thing to do. Not saving my career, but I feel like that was the right thing to do for me. To pursue that, and that was going to be the next step for me. To make that transition to the next level.
How much do you think you can be a leader with your physicality? Like as hard and as urgent and as violent as you like to play, how much do you think that can help other guys around you? And have you seen that from other guys so far through the first two padded practices?
Definitely seeing improvements. With guys, just me bringing that physicality to the game. I feel like guys around me see that, and I feel like they're able to see that and stack on that and add that piece of add that segment to their game, being physical. So I feel like just me bringing that to the table, it sets the standard around the guys, especially with the DB core. And I feel like that's just going to bring our defense up.
What's about Coach White so far, kind of his coaching style, the way he does things out there in the field?
Everybody loves Coach White. I'm excited. Every time I take grass with him, I feel like everybody feels the same way about him. He just brings that intensity to the defense. I feel like that was something that was vital and something that we needed. To have this crazy defense we're about to have. A defense very multiple. We coming at you from different ways. Everybody's just attacking. That's based off him. So everybody we love that Coach White's here.
You said crazy. Is that multiplicity? Is that what makes it crazy?
Yeah, we're doing everything. We coming at you from different ways, doing everything. I don't want to get too deep into it, but it's gonna be crazy.
What about the new defensive staff made you want to stay here through the change?
Say that again?
What about the new defensive staff made you want to stay here? Like a lot of guys, when their D coordinator leaves, they'll hit the portal. Like what about them made you want to stay here?
I didn't want to jump ship. With the whole coaching change, I was ready to just attack the new opportunity that we had in front of us. I just wanted to help. Bring the program back to what it is and what it used to be as far as the defensive side of the ball. So that's why I chose to stay.
And we talked about Tony White. What about Evan Cooper? How's he been?
Coach Coop, he's a young coach. I feel like he brings a lot of juice to the defensive side of the ball, specifically, us DBs. He's out there, he's down there practicing with us. He's flying around with us. Making the checks with us. If y'all see it, he's in the back of the field. While the players are running. So he's out there and he brings a lot of juice to the table, and we're excited for him.
They are the guys you compete against in practice, but they're also your teammates. The dudes on the offensive side of the ball, especially the newcomers at skill positions. Who has stood out? Who has proven to be like, oh, that's different. That's going to play this year.
It's quite a few of them actually, but you know me specifically, I just want to point out one person that I like, Boggs.
Okay, the freshman.
Yeah,
right?
freshman. I like him a lot. And like I said, you know, everybody's making their plays, but he stands out to me. You know, I like him a lot. So, but,
What stands out? Just the smoothness of being a
yeah,
freshman and being that
he's
crisp?
strong at the top of his routes. You know, he knows how to create separation, and he likes to talk a lot of trash too. So, you know, I like that about his game.
Who else is talking quite a bit right now?
All the guys, you know, we just out there competing. So, you know, I ain't gonna lie, everybody's out there just chirping. You know, we getting after it.
Is that good? Like to kind of feel that energy, that competitiveness?
Definitely. I feel like that's something that we really didn't have last year. You know, everybody has a competitive edge. You know, whether that's the defensive line, offensive line, or, you know, the quarterback's out there chirping. You know, everybody's out there chirping. We just out there having fun, competing against each other at a higher level.
What's brought that out in you guys? Is it new coaches, different messaging from Coach Norvell? I guess why do you think that competitiveness has kind of come forefront a little bit more?
I feel like it's just the brotherhood that we have here. That we just, you know, when all the new transfers came in, you know, we had that one team meeting. It was just everybody got to clicking, you know, everybody got to introduce themselves. And, you know, after that, it was just like we got to click, you know, in the weight room, we all play fighting. You know, when it's time to work, we're definitely working. And as far as the locker room, you know what I'm saying, we get around, we play with each other in the locker room, you know, whether that's after practice, before practice, and just talking about what we're going to do and how we're going to attack the day. I feel like that's going to be, you know, key to our success this year.
Who's been the toughest receiver to go against so far?
Toughest receiver, I say Hakeem for me right now, yeah. Hakeem's been pretty nice, yeah.
I think a little bit of Brendan's question, Coach was talking about he wanted to find guys this offseason that want to fight to win every single game. Can you describe what that looks like? Are you seeing that with your teammates?
Say it again?
Coach wants to see guys, he was saying during tour of duty, they were going to fight as hard as they could to win football games.
Right.
Are you seeing some of that? Is there a way to describe what you are seeing that fits into that?
Definitely. You know, tour duty definitely, you know, it gave us a very, you know, a good focal point on, you know, where we were at as a team. And I feel like it brought some dogs out. It showed us who we had and who we need to bring along. Just take step by step. But it definitely brought some dudes out. Showcase, you know, some dudes, you know, competitive side. And I feel like that was a vital moment for us, you know, tour duty.
Anything else?